Welcome back to Grab Your Brew, and if you're new, welcome. Please like and subscribe. While Coffee Beans, we are recording another no sleep section for you, and we're going super cozy today.
We do love our spooky time. Let's hope this one is spooky. So this one was No Sleep and by Pennytail SUP. It's called Carol's Christmas Cookies. Today was the annual holiday potluck. My office doesn't really do parties, but every occasion gets a potluck. It's business as usual, except everyone brings food. We work while stuffing ourselves silly. Sounds fun. Nothing like working through a stomachache, right? Okay, not fun. It's always a game of food poisoning roulette. Since I was the first one in, I expected to do the basic setup. Dutifully, I cleared off the sorting table and got the coffee going. I expected to spend the first sitting my shift in peace, but it wasn't to be. Phone started ringing. It's too early for this, I thought. I answered anyway, putting on my best customer service voice. At this hour, most customers hadn't had their coffee yet, so answering the phone was a crapshoot. Fortunately, it was only Carol. Thank God you answered. Can you let me in? My arms are full. She always brought enough baked goods for everyone to have seconds and thirds. It's one of the few things I looked forward to. I'll be right over. Hold on. I hung up, hurried over to the employee entrance, yanked the door open and found Carol standing there with a heaping stack of Tupperware in her arms. The scent of gingerbread hung around her like a warm Christmas perfume, sweet and inviting. Let me help you with that. You tried to get it all in one tray. I carefully grabbed a few of the containers, making sure not to tip them over, and walking with her inside. Carol smiled appreciatively, relieved she could finally set everything down. I took a peek at the goodies. As expected, gingerbread cookies. Gingerbread office workers, each one bigger than my hand and intricately detailed.
Oh.
What do you think? She asked, puffing out her chest with pride. I made one for everyone in the office after I passed these out. I'm out of here, though. I'm not working today, but I wanted to make sure everyone got theirs. Wow, I admired her handiwork. It only took me a moment to realise that the gingerbread cookies were modelled after our co-workers. I looked eagerly for the one she'd made of me, but I didn't see one. These must have taken you forever to make. The details are perfect and no one can top these. Suddenly, my crock pot of meatballs seemed a lot less exciting. Well, it wasn't a competition as if I could beat Carol's Christmas cookies. By then, my phone started to ring, so I hurried back to the desk. Watched Carol pass out her cookies with care, placing them on the desks atop a pretty poinsettia plates.
Why do I have a voodoo doll vibe going
I
on?
know. That was why my brain went. Are you going to be open on Christmas? The customer asked the second I picked up. No, hello, the shrill apologies. No, but we'll be open as usual on the 26th. What do you mean you won't be open on Christmas? What if I need help right away? I'll have to wait. I gave my scripted answer to the angry customer, distracted and deadpan. By the time the call was done, Carol came over with a smile, bringing the very last cookie over to me. I'd say it's too pretty to eat, except he was never really a looker, was he? She said. I looked down at the gingerbread man. It wasn't me, it was our boss, Dale. This one's mine, I asked tentatively, definitely confused. Maybe there was a mistake. Of course, how many opportunities do you get to bite your boss's head off? I wanted to give you the honour. If Carol sensed my disappointment, she didn't let on. I looked down at the cookie again. A dense gingerbread man in a cheap suit. Even though the suit had been made with glaze and frosting, I had that impression. Cheap, ill-fitting and grey. A perfect replica of one of his two suits with a garish Christmas tie. As long as he doesn't taste like Dale, I laughed. To be honest, as perfectly made as the cookie was, I didn't find it appetizing. Well, I did. It smelled amazing, but there was something off-putting about eating a cookie shaped like someone else, especially Dale. Then again, it would be just as weird to eat one that looked like me. Cookie cannibalism. You didn't give him one that looks like me, right? I shuddered. Now that would be creepy. Dale was a real piece of work, but I had to tolerate him if I wanted to keep my job. Of course not, Carol assured me. Could you do me a favour? Wait until everyone else gets in here before you eat it. I want everyone to see. I wish I could see the looks on their faces. You'll tell me, won't you? Sure, I slid the gingerbread away from me. To be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to eat it or not, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Maybe if I scraped off the decorations first, but that seemed equally rude, though. When you eat gingerbread cookies, are you the kind of person to go for the head or the arms and legs first? Or maybe you pull off the decorations one by one, she asked suddenly. Carol wasn't looking at me when she asked. She was looking towards Dale's office. What a weird question, especially coming from her. When she saw the look on my face, Carol laughed and patted my shoulder. Sorry, I was just having a funny thought. There's a little sadist in everyone, isn't there? Excuse me? Grabbing her empty Tupperware, Carol gave me a wink and wished me a Merry Christmas. She left, leaving me alone in the office. I kept eyeing the gingerbread Dale, still feeling a bit weird about it. Weird, but also hungry. The cookies smelled divine, which was odd considering I'd never been a fan of gingerbread. About 10 minutes later, the rest of my co-workers trickled in. They complained about how tired they were, morning traffic and the holidays. Of course, the belly aching became exclamations of delight when they discovered the cookies sat neatly on their desks. Everyone started showing one another their cookies and taking pictures, marvelling at the perfect detail. Patty's cookie had her trademark beehive updo and pearls. Mark's cookie was bearded with squared glasses. Bet's had electric blue eyeshadow and dimples, though the outfits weren't an exact match. The resemblances were uncanny. Eventually, the clamour died down and everyone sat at their desks, all except Patty, who scurried over to my desk with a wide smile. I didn't see yours, she said, showing me hers for the second time. She carried her plate proudly in both hands like she was presenting a piece of art. To be fair, Carol's work really was exquisite. I just didn't like Patty. Patty's eyes moved to the plate I'd set away from me. My cookie wasn't like everyone else's, which suddenly seemed like a problem. Oh, it looks like Dale. Is it yours? She scrunched her face at me, somehow managing to keep the smile. I didn't like her insinuation. Yes, it's mine. Did she really think I'd scarfed down my cookie and stole another one off my boss's desk? Why doesn't it look like you then? Oh yeah, the insinuation was still there. A bitter anger spread across my tongue, but I fought to keep my voice level and my face flat. It was weird that I was the only one with a cookie that looked like someone else, but I didn't make them. It wasn't up to me. Carol thought it would be funny. That's all. Carol? But wasn't she fired yesterday? Patty's expression scrunched up even more. Her hands moved up to her pearls, fidgeting with the long strand. Sometimes I wondered if she wore pearls just so she could clutch them.
Clutch a pill.
No, wouldn't a memo have gone out if she was? I turned my attention back to my work. I hoped Patty would get the hint and go away, but she just stood there for a long moment, sucking in a deep, dramatic breath. She picked her plate off my desk, staring hard at gingerbread Patty. Didn't you make these? She asked slowly. No, I bought the meatballs. Why would you think I made them? I answered, not looking up. I pretended to read an email. Patty was being nosy as usual. I'd never liked that about her. She didn't have anything better to do, I guess, except for the work she let pile up. But if said that, she'd complain to Dale. Patty was his favourite for some reason, so I'd probably get written up for not being a team player, like a lot of offices around the world. This one was toxic. I feel like it's going to be toxic to a whole new level. I'm not sure if this is okay. I'll be right back, Patty said, unaware of my rude thoughts. I looked up when she said that, unable to help myself. She didn't explain, pivoting towards Dale's office. To tell on me or Carol, I honestly wasn't sure. Either way, it was a headache. She reappeared in the doorway with Dale a moment later. They both made a beeline straight for my desk, their expressions a lot more serious than a cookie called for. Great. I pretended not to notice, busying myself with a stack of fresh paperwork. Before they reached me, there was a loud cracking sound and a scream. Every head in the room whipped in the direction of the sound to find Robert, tears running down his face. All I could see was his eyes poking up from his workstation, expression twisted and red. My arm, he screamed. Oh my God, it won't move. Yeah. A couple of co-workers ran over to see what was happening. I reached for my phone instead, ready to call 911 if an ambulance was needed. Patty and Dale changed course, but everyone looked confused. How on earth had Robert hurt his arm while sitting at his desk? Now's your chance, came an errant thought. My eyes slid towards the gingerbread Dale. It looked perfectly palatable on that pretty poinsettia plate. Hurry before they confiscate it, intrusive thoughts. Now wasn't the time to worry about cookies, but my tongue tingled with anticipation and my teeth itched with the urge. Never had itchy teeth.
No, I've heard that term a lot, but I've never thought about actually
Yeah.
itchy teeth.
No, just one small bite. The thought was strange, almost like it wasn't mine, but very compelling. The gingerbread man was heavier than expected. I lifted it to my lips and bit off one of the feet. It crunched in stereo, unusually loud, as the foot snapped off and began to melt on my tongue. Delicious. A rush of delight washed over me, brought on by a flood of flavour that drowned out Dale's cursing scream. He'd fallen, rocking back and forth on the floor. He must have twisted his ankle in haste to check on Robert. How unlucky, 2 injuries in one day. A chorus of "oh my gods" rang through the office, but I set down my phone so I could hold Gingerbread Dale with both hands. Without even thinking, I took another bite, nibbling up the leg before switching to the other foot. The screaming kept getting louder, filling the room.
A whole bunch screaming just
There's a little...
away.
Carol did say there's a little sadist in all of us. We're only halfway through. The gingerbread had such a rich and complex flavour. Ginger, cinnamon, allspices, cloves, and something else. Was it earthy? Or maybe it was a texture. Soft and velvety, yet dense and crunchy. Wow, so much screaming. All over carpal tunnel and a sprained ankle.
That'd be me. That would be me.
Oh my goodness. Annoyed, I glanced around the room to find that almost everyone was screaming. The ones who weren't screaming were chewing with blissed out looks on their bloody faces or slumped over their desks. Confused, I touched my own wet mouth and looked down at my red fingers. I wasn't in any pain. Had Carol put glass in the batter or something? Where was the blood coming from? Why was everyone still eating? Because they can't help themselves. I couldn't help myself either. Without realizing it, I'd eaten half of the Dale cookie and found myself going in for another bite. Horrified, I dropped the cookie, the gingerbread snapping in half as it hit the floor. Dale, curled up on the carpet, was suddenly still and quiet. Patty was right next to him on the floor, but she didn't seem to notice. Chewing frantically with glazed eyes, gingerbread crumbs and blood running down her chin. Only when her mouth was empty did she resume screaming again. She rolled and started eating her cookie off the carpet.
Some good cookies.
The spell the cookie cast on me had broken with my boss's spine. He was dead, and with each quieted scream, a co-worker joined him in death. I was the last one standing, the last one screaming. Soon, I was standing in perfect silence. No more screams, no more chewing. Only then was I able to move. I grabbed my keys and ran out of the office. Maybe I should have called the police, but I didn't know what I was going to tell them. That Carol's Christmas cookies had killed everyone but me. That I chewed my bosses to death with the voodoo gingerbread man. I couldn't come up with a letter. Oh, my eyes
This
are
is
running.
great.
I know, I love this one. I couldn't come up with a logical explanation in my state of pure panic. Even though my voice had broken, my thoughts kept screaming. Oh my goodness. I ran through the snowy parking lot and found my car. I'm not sure why I ran. No one was chasing me. There was no one who could. I'm so sorry.
Oh my day.
Where was I?
Well, there is a little sadist in everybody, remember, Jodie. That's how we find it so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, where am I? There was no one who could. I'm sorry. Sorry. Before I could jump in the car and drive away, I noticed the little red gift bag sitting on the hood of my car. Across the front, written in glitter, were the words "Merry Christmas" from Carol. I was terrified, but looked inside the bag anyway. As I feared, there was a cookie. My heart thundered in terror, but I felt compelled to examine it. In spite of my dread, I started to salivate, clenching my teeth together. Even after what I'd witnessed, I wanted to eat it. The cookie wasn't me. It was Carol. Carol, down to the outfit she'd worn that very morning, except for the sorry packed across her sweater in red. I swallowed the bloody spit in my mouth, reaching back into the gift bag. There was a Christmas card inside, still holding gingerbread Carol. Sorry, gingerbread
Oh,
Carol.
was this like a murder suicide voodoo pact with herself?
Yeah. Still holding the gingerbread Carol, I opened it up. A key was taped inside along with a simple message. Merry Christmas. There's a gingerbread office in my apartment. If you smash it, everyone will think the roof collapsed. That should explain all the broken bones. Don't worry, no one will find me. P.S. You were always kind to me, that's why I spared you. I hope you'll do me one more
Oh.
kindness and make it quick. Love, Carol. I closed the card, tucking it back into the envelope and sitting in my car. I looked down at the cookie still in my hand. My tongue tingled, my teeth itched. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it. I bit off Carol's gingerbread head. It tasted like gingerbread and death. I enjoyed
Talk
that
about
one.
the bloody cookies.
I know. I enjoyed that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I feel like that would have been like a funny dark humor like could have been not a film. It wasn't lengthy enough for a film, but
Yeah, but like a short. Oh, I enjoyed
see,
it.
guys, moral of the story: always be kind to people because Carol may have some voodoo cookies for you. So I don't always like to eat the potluck. I don't think mine's going to be good following that. I should have gone first. I don't think mine's going to be funny. Okay, so mine is no sleep, subreddit, and it is. I'm gonna put the name here because I can't pronounce it. It's like Rick and Dinkin Duncan. 1, 2, 3. That's the best you're gonna get out of me. Remember, guys, I am dyslexic. Let me make sure. Okay. So I will never visit my grandma for Christmas again. I love visiting my grandma. She always makes food that I like and in large quantities and spoils me. With the hustle and bustle of college life, it's nice to get back to my childhood and allow myself to be spoiled for a few hours every week. Even though she had 6 grandchildren, she made it very clear that I'm her absolute favorite. She'd often have the whole family around for dinner, and after they left, she'd bring out the good stuff just for me. Ooh, princess treatment. We usually have a big Christmas dinner together with the whole family. However, as the years go by and the younger ones are growing up, fewer and fewer people are showing up. Last year, everyone already made plans and forgotten about poor grandma. I don't blame them, but they often forget how these visits mean a lot to her, especially ever since grandpa died. That's why when I talked on the phone with her, and she asked me if I had any plans. I lied to her and told her I didn't. She immediately jumped at the opportunity to politely invite me, going as far as offering me to sleep over at her place. She said there's one room which hasn't been used in years and I could stay in there. I immediately said yes and agreed to staying
Mm.
over, realizing how happy it would make her. I cancelled the plans I had made with my friends, telling them something else came up. Although they were bummed about it a little, their drinking party wouldn't stop because of me. That was the last Christmas I would ever spend with my grandma. That came abruptly, didn't it?
Yeah.
On Christmas Eve, I arrived to my grandma's place, and she greeted me like she always does, with tight hugs and lots of kisses. I barely even stepped inside when she started offering me food. She had already made what could only be described as an all-you-can-eat buffet. Can I come over, Grandma?
I want a grandma.
Yeah. We dug in, and once we were done, she showed me where I could sleep for the night. It was a cozy little bedroom, which apparently used to be my mum's room when she was little. Grandma told me not to leave my room during Christmas night in order to avoid disrupting Santa in his work. She said that if I really needed to use the bathroom, I could, but to be extremely quiet and not to go downstairs. On the nightstand, she left a list of things I should do before I go to bed to ensure I get good presents. I decided to play along and abide by the rules. I told her I'd read it before bed and do everything necessary, and she seemed content with that. She wished me good night and left the room. I was pretty tired from the trip and the enormous dinner I've already eaten, so I lay down on the bed and involuntarily fell asleep within minutes. I woke up a few hours later. I glanced at my watch and realized 3:01 a.m. I got up to grab a glass of water downstairs from the kitchen, breaking the rules, and groggily
Oh.
walked through the dark, trying to avoid any loud noise or turning on the lights, not to wake Grandma. I went downstairs and turned on the kitchen light. Gulped down a glass of water. I glanced towards the living room at the Christmas tree. Something caught my attention. Under the glow of the decoration lights, there was a small plate with the tiny paper that said, "For Santa." I reckoned it was cookies and milk, but when I got closer, I realized that plate was empty. Red liquid was on it. Dun, dun, dun. And right next to the plate was a small bucket. Obviously, I found this weird, but figured that Grandma may have just forgotten to put it away or something. I turned off the kitchen lights and returned to my room. Just then, I remembered the list Grandma gave me. I grabbed it off my nightstand and started reading it. Is this a list of rules? Dear James, thank you for visiting me for Christmas. You made your grandma really happy. Now, Christmas is a little different in this house than what you're probably used to. So, it's very important you follow this set of rules. 1. Make sure close your window and ensure they are closed properly. These old windows don't work properly sometimes, so if you feel like cold air is coming in, let me know. 2. Don't put any wood in the fireplace after 9 p.m. Santa will be really angry if it's scalding in the chimney or if there's still smoke. Rule number 3. You didn't forget about the milk and cookies, did you? I stopped reading and chuckled at the list. Grandma clearly wanted me to follow basic rules for Santa like when I was a kid. But again, I decided to oblige and I continued to read. In this house, we don't use milk and cookies. We use raw meat and blood. I already left the bucket by the Christmas tree, and there was a raw piece of chicken I put on the plate. Santa sure loves his diet. Rule number 4. If you are woken up by the sound of scratching or knocking at your window, ignore it. Your room is on the 2nd floor. There is no way to reach it. In fact, it's best not to look there at all. But if you see something beckoning you, pretend it's not there. They may try to open the window from the outside. This is why it's important to keep your window closed. Okay, now we're getting creepier. Rule number 5. You may hear growling coming from the kitchen. It's okay, is it? Because Santa would never come upstairs, and since I already left chicken for him, that should satisfy him. By this point, I was sure Grandma was messing with me. That was until I heard the sound of 3 gentle knocks on the window behind me. I froze in place, staring at the list, but practically staring through it. 3 more gentle knocks ensured, but I did my best not to give away that I heard them. Once again, 3 more knocks. And then the sound of scratching started. Ooh, first gently, and then louder, as if a rat was trying to bite through the wall. It lasted for around a minute, until it completely stopped. Only when it did I gather enough courage to slightly shift my position.
Ooh.
That was a mistake, though, because when I looked down to the floor at the light which was cast in from the window, I saw an unmistakable shadow in its form of a tremendous silhouette stretched across. I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like whoever was there held both his hands on the window and stared directly towards me. This is why we have curtains, guys. I decided that the best thing to do was continue reading the list to distract myself. Blackout curtains, guys. Even
Yeah.
Timu has them. Rule number 6. If someone walks into your room while you're sleeping and you happen to wake up, pretend you're still asleep. I do that on a regular. In the In the worst case scenario, this person will sit on the edge of your bed and observe you. So do your best not to let them know you're awake. If you feel their breath on your neck, and it gets progressively closer, it means they realize you're awake. Oh, how can I need to
I'm prone
learn.
to nervous giggles. I'd be screwed.
Yeah, I need to record myself sleeping so I can emulate my snores. Oh my
Ew.
gosh, new fear unlocked. 7. You may hear me calling you from downstairs. Don't listen to it. I will under no circumstance go downstairs during this night. Rule number, you know what, Granny? Don't invite me over if this shit goes on in your house.
Why are you doing it to me?
Rule number 8, last and most important rule. If you get up to go to the bathroom, never, ever, ever turn on any lights in the house. He has trouble noticing you in the dark. But if you turn on the light, he will be able to follow you wherever you go. And then not even locking your door will help. Number 9, follow these simple rules and in the morning we can open your presents. Merry Christmas. Love, Grandma.
Lovely.
The scratching at the door had already stopped. By the time I was done reading and the shadow from the window had gone, I got into bed and covered myself, pulling the covers over my head, shivering, and not from the cold. Sometime during the night I heard my door open, but did my best to ignore the footsteps and low growling noise. I either passed out or fell asleep sometime later, but all I know is I woke up to the sound of coming downstairs from the kitchen. I shut up, looking around the room and at the window, rubbing my temple, and was thinking about the nightmare I had. I left my room and immediately heard Grandma's voice calling me from downstairs to come open presents. I told her I'm coming when I suddenly felt a grip on my wrist. I turned around and saw my grandma there, staring at me, wide-eyed. She leaned in and whispered in my ear with a terrible voice, "You turned on the light, didn't you?" Just turned the light on in the kitchen. It wasn't Grandma downstairs. Oh my goodness. You know what? If anybody's ancestors out there have these kind of experiences, pre-warn me before you invite me over to sleep. Pre-warn me. Not saying I wouldn't come, but let me know ahead of
At least
time
let
so
me
I don't miss them.
prepare.
Yeah. Because I would definitely come. Just let me know what I'm in for so I don't trigger my own death. Well, that's it for us, guys. I hope you have an amazing week. But we're still in the Christmas mood, okay? Don't judge us. Until the January sales end, it's Christmas.
Yeah, we'll still be within the 12 days of Christmas.
Yes, we will. So don't judge us. We will be having more Christmas videos next week because we're both recording so we can have Christmas off. All right, guys. Like and subscribe. Have an amazing week.
Bye.